Chatty Soldiers. It's the kind of morning where I woke up, made a coffee, drank the whole coffee, then forgot that I made one, made another one, and then didn't realize until about halfway through that I was very over-caffeinated. So I thought I'd put all that extra energy to good use and film a YouTube video. Do keep in mind that next week I have 2 proposals, 1 essay, and 1 short project done, and I've only finished 1 of them so far. So production quality for this video may not be at its greatest. So hi, my name is Rachel. I've been book blogging for about 8 years now, and as you can see from behind me, my specialties lie in young adult and fantasy novels. Over the years, I've gotten a lot of questions on how to get advanced copies, how to work with publishers, what do book bloggers do, how do you get started? Plus, recently I've gotten a lot more questions about this on my TikTok because I've been doing more unboxings and working with publishers to do giveaways. I thought it would be fun to do an all-encompassing how-to book blogger video talking about how to start working with publishers, how to get advanced copies, sponsorships, what book bloggers give to the book community, etc. Of course, this is all my experience and what I have done in my book blogging journey, and I'm also Canadian, so that does affect what I can participate in and what publishers will work with me, since the majority of them are in the States. That will also maybe affect you depending on where you live. There is no one-size-fits-all when it comes to blogging, and you can tailor whatever advice I'm giving you to what you want to do. Alright, so when I talk about book blogging, what do I mean by that? When I think of book blogging, it's a bit of a Venn diagram. On one hand, you have you love books and you want to review them and you want to share your opinions with other people. Then you have the other side that is making money and doing this as a job. And of course there is some crossover. I am also in the middle. This is not my full-time job, but I do get paid for it a little bit, and I also get product for it, which we will talk about later. Keep in mind that book blogging is not a ridiculously stable or attainable job. If you want to start book blogging, I'm assuming that you, like me, love books and want to show them off and want to take pretty pictures and do reviews and talk to other people on the internet about your shared interests. And you can do this in a couple different ways depending on how much money you want to spend up front, how much time you have, and how invested you are in doing reviews or photos or videos, etc. I would first start thinking about what kind of venue or genre of book blogging that you want to do. You want to do it as a text-only traditional blog, in which case I would go to websites like WordPress or Tumblr or Wix and make a blog that way. Do you want to do a Bookstagram account where you take pretty pictures of books and post those online? Do you want to make a YouTube channel where you talk at length about a book, be that in a review format or in a wrap-up format, or just generally yell about pretty books, because who doesn't love that? And of course, with any of these formats, you can be really bougie with it, get a fancy camera, get fancy lighting, get a bunch of props to put in your photos, or you can do it more simply, like leaving a couple sentence review on Goodreads or taking photos with your phone. Now, something that's often talked about on online spaces is having a personal brand. And while I don't necessarily think you have to have one to book blog, it definitely helps. I also think this will happen a bit subconsciously based on what you like to read. For example, my personal brand is like quirky redhead who likes young adult fantasy, and people know that if they want a review of that, they will come to me. I have seen people, mostly on YouTube, do this kind of like, I'll read anything and just talk about all types of books, but I feel like the most popular book bloggers are known because they have a niche. And going under the assumption that if you are blogging, you want people to pay attention to you and what you have to say, having a more personal brand will help draw an audience to you. Especially starting off, you're gonna probably experiment with a couple things, maybe like the way you take photos, or the kinds of TikToks that you make, or the length of your videos, and it's okay to mess around a little bit and change your username, because why not? Who cares? And before we go any further, we're gonna do a short talk on consumerism, everyone's favorite. I mean, I'm not helping the problem. I'm literally standing in front of hundreds of dollars worth of physical copies of books and another couple $100s worth of bookshelves. But there is that common assumption that to be a book blogger, you need to have a lot of books, or you need to have a lot of product. And that, I don't think, is true, especially over the last year where people have not wanted to leave their house to go buy things, and getting things delivered is on delays, and there are paper shortages, and ebooks are becoming more of a thing. And the apps and platforms that we're using don't necessarily need you to hold up a physical book. You could just insert a picture of a book and have it there. Wow, ooh, technology, editing. It's also becoming a lot more common for people to go to the library and do library hauls and just hold up books that way. Book blogging can be a large financial burden. I personally choose to spend my money on books, and we're also gonna get into a little bit later getting things sent to you for free, so like half the stuff I didn't even pay for, which is a privilege unto itself that we're going to also cover later. But I've seen people spend like thousands of dollars and go into debt because of promotional things like TikTok or Instagram, and you absolutely do not need to do that. You can buy books by thrifting, you can buy books off of secondhand websites, you can buy them off Facebook Marketplace. I also have an Instagram account where I post book photos, and I use things for props that are relatively cheap. I use mugs filled with my own tea that I then later drink. My flowers are from the dollar store. I'll film 8 TikToks holding up the same book because, like, who cares? You just need one physical book as a prop. While some people may find a packed shelf behind them more aesthetically pleasing, it is not a necessity to be a book blogger. I mean, really the only necessity to being a book blogger is to have a book to read somehow, and then talk about it in some capacity. All right, now we're gonna talk about something that most people ask me the most about, and that is advanced copies. ARCs, or ARCs, are advanced reading copies, which are bind-ups of books that have not been released to the general public yet, that book bloggers get sent by publishers to review before the book comes out. Now, I'd say advanced copies are the big ticket items, mostly because book bloggers are a selfish bunch and we want bragging rights. Now, ARCs have the 3 Ps: prestige, privilege, and purpose. Getting an advanced copy does make you feel very prestigious because it is getting something that nobody else has until a later date. It's like a really nice ego boost. It's privilege because a company has noticed you and thinks that you have enough clout with your audience to recommend something to them and they will actually buy it, which leads me to 3, purpose. A lot of people think that advanced copies are just kind of like thrown out left, right, and center to big book bloggers like for funsies, but actually you kind of have a responsibility once you get an advanced copy. The purpose of advanced copies is advertising. That's it. So if a publishing company sends a book blogger an advanced copy, they're giving you a free product, so you in return should be giving them promotion. And this promotion can be anything from a quick 24-hour Instagram story, it could be like a full TikTok, it could be a full YouTube video, it could be a review on Goodreads or a review on your blog, but then also depending on the context in which they send you things, it could also be for consideration. For example, I'm on a couple of publishers' PR lists, which means that every once in a while they'll send me a form, basically of the new up-and-coming books for the next couple months, and I can pick out which ones I want, and they will send them to me. It's not guaranteed that I'll get all of them, but I will likely get at least one of the ones I'm asking for. And because I asked for it specifically, then they will expect some kind of exchange, that they are giving me product for a promotion of this item. But sometimes things will arrive on my doorstep that I didn't specifically ask for, and to me, those things are for my consideration, which means that I can choose to display it somewhere, but I don't necessarily have to. Now, the free stuff aspect of advanced copies is, I think, why most people want them, because how amazing is it to just get stuff sent to you for free that you don't have to pay for, especially if it's things that you really, really want. This is a bit tricky because in my experience, you kind of have to invest in your own blogging brand before you will get people sending you free things. So you kind of have to spend a lot of money or time up front to be able to get free things later. Again, the purpose of PR is to have that blogger promote it. And a lot of companies will not work with you if you don't already have a large audience to promote that to. And how you get a large audience is usually you spend a lot of time reading books or taking pictures or making, buying things to add to your collection, so that more people will follow you for the newest updates, etc., etc. This all leads me into my next point, which is how to reach out to publishers to start a relationship with them, to get advanced copies and PR, which is the question that I get the most often. In my experience, you can do this in 2 ways. You can either wait for the publisher to come to you, or you can actively seek out a relationship with someone. My biggest advice is to not be nervous about reaching out to somebody, because the worst they can do is say no. Bloggers are like a liaison, a go-between, if you will, between the publisher and the public. Know your worth as a blogger, regardless of your size of platform. So what you're gonna do is you're going to find some of your favorite books and find the publishing imprint of whoever publishes that book. I personally work with some publishers and some distributors, so I work with imprints like Tortine, but I also work with distributors like Raincoast and HTC Frenzy, Fierce Reads, Source Books, Bloomsbury. They're some of my favorite people to work with because the people behind the PR accounts are so nice. What you can do to find these opportunities is literally just go to Google and type in the imprint that you want to work with and like publicity manager or PR contact. Usually on the publisher's website there will be a contact listed that you can reach out to. So here's a couple tips for writing a reach out email. First, you gotta open with a classic dear name here, or dear team at blank publisher. Start off by introducing yourself and what you most like to read, like, hi, my name is Rachel. I'm a book blogger from Vancouver, Canada, who really loves reading dark young adult fantasy. I would also add in a couple of titles from that imprint that you really liked in the past. So if I was writing to Bloomsbury, which I did, who I now have a relationship with, I would write something like, some of my favorites from your imprint include The Curse of Dark and Lonely series by Bridget Kemmerer. This shows that you're open and friendly and know what they're known for, which is important. And then you can go on to list the name of your blog or whatever platform that you're using, list all of your social medias and the links to each site. Also list the number of followers your biggest platform has, or list the followers in total that all your platforms have. And then a nice sign off of, I hope to hear from you, or I look forward to working together on bookish things in the future. Thanks, cheers, your name. Seriously, I don't understand why so many people are scared of this. Just like reach out. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Now let's say that you've reached out to publishers and they've said yes, and now you're working with them. This can sometimes lead to sponsorships. Now I'll also clarify a little bit here because I've done sponsorships and I've also done like collaborations with, and those are a little bit different. So for example, I worked with Simon & Schuster to do a giveaway for a book where they were going to send a copy of the book I was promoting to the person who won my giveaway. They were not paying me to do so, but we were working together to do that. So in that scenario, I said this is a collaboration with Simon & Schuster. However, I think what was my most recent sponsorship? I did one for Danielle L. Jensen, who's an author, so I did a video and then said this is sponsored by this author because we came to an agreement on a contract. She paid me to promote her books. Also go check out any books by Danielle L. Jensen. She's a Canadian author. I've met her and she's great. Now I also have not done like full sponsored YouTube posts or fully sponsored blog posts because those can get, as far as I know, like they can give you a good chunk of money. The sponsorships that I've done, like, well, they have given me like also a good chunk of money. They're nowhere near to being able to like pay my rent or like retire from my day job. Whereas I know bigger book bloggers and like the OG book bloggers on YouTube, like they were getting paid bank. But regardless, talking about any kind of sponsorship in the book world or outside of the book world, you have to decide what you're willing to do for the amount of money being offered. You have to think about if you want to work with this company because forever from that point onward, your name is going to be associated with that imprint. Regardless of how big or small you are, take into consideration how much your word is worth to your audience. Companies will try and lowball you because if they don't think they have to pay a lot of money for you, they won't. That also goes back to who is offering and what they are offering. Maybe if you really want to work with a publishing company, you're willing to take a little bit less pay to do something, whereas if it's maybe an unknown author that's asking you to promote their stuff, maybe you will ask them for a bit more. Maybe specifically because it's a lesser known indie author, you're willing to cut your rates for them. Also think about different rates for different types of promotion. For example, I charge less for a TikTok than I do for a YouTube video, although maybe I should consider swapping those prices because I'm getting kind of big on TikTok, which is weird. Thank you all for following me. Is this a full video or TikTok or Instagram post that is dedicated to this one thing, or is it just a mention of it somewhere? Because the time and attention that you take to that one product or book or thing is going to dictate how much that you charge. Feel free to negotiate your rates, but also take into consideration your relationship with this publisher, if it's new or if you've been doing it for a while, or maybe what they're asking of you. Is it more or less than what they've asked of you in the past? There are tons of other videos on YouTube talking about sponsorships, so I will cut this off here and you can go find more. I will see if I can link some down below if I remember to. And lastly, this video has already gone on so long and I appreciate you taking the time to watch it all. We're gonna talk about time commitments. No, really, book blogging takes a lot of time. Of course, depending on how much effort you want to put into it, book blogging can kind of be a little bit of a burden. I personally have burned out maybe 3 times in the last 2 months because I have tried so hard to upkeep the book blogging, and so that's why I haven't been posting on YouTube lately. With any online job, I feel like there's that expectation that it's like, oh, you just like snap a photo and upload it and you're getting paid hundreds of dollars, but there is a lot of behind the scenes work that happens before anybody gets a final product. For example, if I'm filming a YouTube video, I have to get ready, I have to set up my camera, I have to set up my lights, I have to, depending on what book thing I'm talking about, like make a script. Like these are my notes that I've been referencing the last how long have I been filming this? Hour and a half. You don't see how many times I stumble over my words or have to refilm something, or dead space silence that I'm cutting down. I have to transfer files from my camera to my computer and then into iMovie and then edit it in there and then add effects or sounds or whatever I want to. I have to wait for it to upload, and then I have to upload it to YouTube. I have to make a thumbnail. If I'm taking a book photo, I have to charge my camera, get the book itself, set up the setup however I want it, which can take anywhere from like 5 minutes to like 20 minutes depending on how good it is. Taking those photos and taking those photos from my camera to my computer, picking out the ones I like, and then editing those photos, which can take again anywhere from like 10 minutes to like 30, 40 minutes depending on how much I'm changing, and then cropping and uploading those to Instagram, writing a caption, etc. So it does take a lot more time than just a simple point and shoot, which again can all be tailored depending on how much effort you want to put in. I know plenty of book bloggers that literally hold up a book in front of like a wall and take a picture of it and then like throw on a filter, and that's it, that's done. I also know people that spend a lot more time beautifully editing YouTube videos, where I'm just kind of like, I shoot it, I cut it, I upload it, we're done. Okay, we've switched to water. Oh, I have a spicy low camera battery, so hopefully I can finish filming this before my camera shuts off. Haha, surprise, it wasn't. I just had to charge my camera battery for 25 minutes. You're seeing this in real time, folks. This YouTube video is now taking me an extra half hour to film than I thought it was going to. But I'm willing to take that hit because all of you are worth it. All right, where was I? In conclusion, if you're thinking about it, I would highly recommend becoming a part of the book blogger community, because I love and cherish the friends that I have made through writing, through NaNoWriMo, through Instagram, through TikTok, a couple people on YouTube, and getting to connect with people with the same niche interests, being able to share contacts if you're wanting to become more involved with publishing, leaving comments on other people's videos, and like building a community either in your own home city. Like there's some people on TikTok that I found are also in Vancouver, and like now we're friends, which is so fun. But I would also say, remember why you want to book blog. I think a lot of people get pressured into making this a job or like doing it for money, when really you can just do it for fun, and that's all it ever has to be. So remember that you don't have to say yes to everything. Maybe weigh how much saying no would impact you as a blogger, but you don't have to agree to something just because it's being presented to you. It can be very exciting to start getting PR or getting requested to do reviews, but this is also where having book blogger friends or a community comes in, because then if you don't want to do it or you can't do it for whatever reason, you can be like, hey, why don't you check out this list of people who might be interested instead? At the end of the day, we're all here because we love books and we love stories and want to share them with other people. And I don't have a better concluding sentence than that, because I've written 2 essays in the last week and a half, and all of my brain power went to getting good conclusions for those. So that's what you're gonna have to deal with today. If you are a book blogger watching this, we're friends or not, please leave down below your own experiences and advice, because of course everyone's gonna be different. Like I personally started with a Instagram and a YouTube channel. I do have a blog, I kind of still post on it, I should do that more often, but I also got my start when I was already working in a bookstore. So that is already a major privilege and advantage to doing this. Also leave down below if you are just a book lover or a book consumer, also known as a reader, where you go for book reviews. Do you often go to Goodreads? Do you like reading full text blogs? Are you looking specifically for like quick, snappy 15-second TikTok reviews? Also, thank you to all the publishers that want to work with me, because I also want to work with you. So this is a great symbiotic relationship. You know where to click to like the video, you know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!